Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Mysticall, and today I'm bringing you an updated guide for Mistweaver monks in BFA. This is what patch 8.0.1. So, yeah, I was definitely correct about some things, but I was definitely wrong. I have no problem admitting it. And I just like jumping right into these things. So, first off, most common question I get is, what are my add-ons? So straight off the bat, Arena Team Tracker. These are the most. I mean, I use a bunch of add-ons, or like used to. I don't use a lot of them anymore. But I'm gonna give you guys the biggest, most important add-ons you guys need. Arena Team Tracker. This tracks your teammates' cooldowns. You can also click the option to track trinkets. So Arena Team Tracker. Big debuffs that basically make debuffs bigger, so it's easier for you to dispel. Diminish with S Arena. S Arena is down here to track diminishing returns and to track, I don't know, just it's a nice arena frame. Dominoes is my UI, so you don't really need to use that. Omnibar tracks enemy cooldowns. It's basically I use it for kick. Um, this arena we got. I use weak ores. I mean, that's pretty much nothing crazy. And oh, here's the biggest one that I got. What is the add-on that shows the enemy cooldowns above their nameplate? It is called Nameplate Cooldowns. It is by far one of the best add-ons you can get for PvP. Let's say, I don't know, you want to make a monk. You want to reroll. You're getting sick of those resto druids. So, you got to pick a race. You got to pick a race. Now, there's a few options you have. For Alliance, Human, super solid. You can get out of stuns with every man for himself. Really good, but it puts your trinket on a minute and a half cooldown. Dwarf, solid choice. With how good assassination rogues are right now, Dwarf is definitely really solid. It dispels all your bleeds. I think it's stone form, and then it also reduces physical damage you take by 10%. So Dwarf is solid. My personal favorite is Night Elf, and that's just because you could shadow melt stuns if you time it right. You know, can't do it every time, but Storm Bolts, Mighty Bashes, Hodges. You could also shadow melt polymorphs, cyclones, fears. You know, anything that could be cast on you, you could just completely avoid. I like that. I personally, it's my favorite racial. It's probably not the best. Human or dwarf is probably the best if you're going for that. And then you're probably gonna want Dark Iron Dwarf. It's the same as a dwarf racial. Like it removes the same thing as such as bleeds, poisons, UAs. Does that, but instead of reducing the 10% of your physical damage, it increases your primary stat by as many debuffs that were dispelled, which is really good. It's super good, especially if you want to play like Windwalker or something too. It's good for burst too, but it's also really good for healing if you're low in health. You gain all those stats, and that's pretty easy to recover. So that's it for Alliance. For Horde, Orc, definitely the way to go. In my opinion, I don't play a Horde. I don't have a single Horde tune, not one. But I've played against a lot of you know, Horde monks, and a lot of them are Orc. There's also Undead, Will of Forsaken, super solid versus Warrior Fear, Priest Fear, and Warlock Fear. All really good. Also, the Succubus charm effect that Warlocks have. This also works on it, which is really good. Tauren, Stundiar with War Stomp. It's okay. It's not the best. It's just an additional interrupt. I don't know. I don't like it that much. Troll, Berserking. The haste is okay, but I don't like it. I've also seen some Blood Elf monks with the Arcane Torrent Purge. Pretty solid versus Holy Pallies and monks for Enveloping Mist. And to get maybe like one of the stacks of Life Bloom for Resto Druids, but I don't know if that's the best. Panda for Alliance or Horde. Pretty good. A Quaking Palm is solid. It gives you an extra interrupt. The bad part about monks is that it DRs with paralysis, but you could still use it. It's pretty good if you get interrupted. And then I don't think I'd use any of these. I don't have any of these unlocked, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't use any of these. High Mount Tor in the charge is actually pretty good, so you could use that. Void Elf also for Alliance is pretty good, but if you're channeling, you're probably gonna get interrupted on it. So that's why the pushback, it just doesn't matter, really. You're just going to get interrupted. And that's pretty much it for racials and add-ons. And yeah, let's hop right into the game and let's talk about stats and talents and all the good stuff. All right, so I'm here and I'm going to talk about stats first because they're relevant now. So I just want to talk about it. The stat priority you're gonna want to go is haste, critical strike, versatility, mastery. Intellect is obviously the best. Intellect is obviously the best. You want haste to reduce the global cooldown on your spells. For those of you who don't know what a global cooldown is, or GCD, that's what I'll call it. It's basically this right here. You know, how long it takes for your cooldowns to refresh. I truly don't know the exact percentage, but you want your global cooldown on Soothing Mist to be less than a second, so you don't get kicked. It's pretty annoying because I believe it's on a second and a half now. So in between GCDs for the other players, they can still kick you, which is really annoying. Usually you could just Soothing Mist, envelop. See, normally you could just Soothing Mist, enveloping right there. So I'm like 0.1, 0.2 off from that 1 second sweet spot. And then you're going to want critical strike. This just increases the chance your heals do more damage or more healing. Excuse me, which is good. Especially paired with some of our traits, which I'll get to in a little bit. And then finally, want versatility. It just increases your healing and reduces the damage you take. I mean, I can't complain about that. The less damage you take, the more of a chance you'll be able to live in a stun and won't have to trinket or cocoon afterwards, and you can just port. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Versatility's all right, but you definitely want that haste crit on gear. So let's get right into talents. This is what I've been running. Like if you're here and you're in a rush, this is my cookie cutter build. I don't swap too often out of this, so yeah. But I'll explain though. So first of all, we have Mistwrap, Chi Wave, Chi Burst. Mistwrap is good, right? Increased enveloping mist duration by 1 second and its healing bonus by 10%. The only time I run Chi Wave is when I'm running Way of the Crane and I'm playing against a comp that has like 3 purges where enveloping mist is pretty much going to get sniped and doesn't have much use. That's when I run Chi Wave, but most of the time it's Mistwrap. If there's only 1, maybe 2 purge classes, unless it's an arcane mage that can just spam it, I'll be Mistwrap. In the second tier, I actually just started using Tiger's Lust more often. That's because of Frost Mages. If I'm playing against a Frost Mage, I'm playing Tiger's Lust. If not, I'll play Chi Torpedo. I play Demon Hunter Warrior, the comp. And against Frost Mages, they just have so many roots, so many slows. It's kind of ridiculous, but this helps my teammates. I can get both roots. So if the mage pet roots both of my melee GPS, I can Tiger's Lust one root, dispel the other. And now they're both out of roots. And it works out pretty well. Now, this tier I was completely wrong about. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Life Cycles is not good. Vivify is not good in Arena. It's just not. You want to be Manatee. Even if you're not playing Way of the Crane, you want to be Manatee. It's just really good. It's 12 seconds, which is 2 seconds longer than in Legion, which is pretty good. Still a minute and a half. Still reduces all of your spells by 50%. So, yeah, you're going to want to be Manatee in this tier. Level 60. You're going to be choosing between Song of Chi-Ji and Ring of Peace. I'm in 3v3 Arena. I'm actually not playing Song of Chi-Ji that often. I mostly use that in 2s, where there's only 1 kick and like 1 range stun, and then it's pretty easy. Ring of Peace is the primary go-to. You could just use it for so many things, right? You could use it as an interrupt. If somebody on your team gets put into a stun, Ring of Peace it. Especially if you're on Blade's Edge, you can Ring of Peace off the edge. You could use it for yourself as like an extra pillar. So Ring of Peace has its uses, and I find it more useful than Song of Chi-Ji in 3s. But you could still use Song in 3s. I've played it versus Shadow Priest Boomy because there's no interrupts outside of Silence and Solar Beam. So it's pretty good. In this tier, I play Healing Elixirs and sometimes Dampen Harm, depending on the situation. Excuse me. I think healing elixirs is better because if you get they actually just nerfed it because normally when you get kicked you could use double healing elixir, but they actually changed it and I didn't see it anywhere in the patch notes. So they changed that. So damage harm might be better now, depending on if you can use it while kicked. Because normally while you're kicked you can use this, but you can't do that anymore. You can probably use it diffuse magic as well. So this just depends on the situation. I use healing elixirs for instant healing outside of stuns. Like as soon as I leave a stun, double healing elixir with fortifying brew is really solid. You could use dampen harm versus warriors, destruction warlocks, demon hunters. You know, really hard hitting classes and specs. You can run dampen harm versus. In this tier, I've only been using statue. I used to use Shiji, but Jade Serpent Statue, it's healing. The healing is actually a little ridiculous, and it's awesome. First of all, it costs no mana. Second, I could stop channeling Soothing Mist, and it keeps channeling on me. See? See, it just keeps channeling on me for, you know, what, 1400 every second, which is pretty solid. So, basically, it's just the all-around best choice. And in the final tier, I've only been using Focus Thunder. Yeah, Focus Thunder is the go-to. I thought Rising Mist was actually going to be solid. It's not. It's just not. So, I think Focus Thunder is the best. Having 2 charges for, like, double Enveloping Mist or for long Renewing Mists, definitely the way to go. PvP talents, same thing. You really don't change them. It really depends on the situation and what you're comfortable with. If you're human, you're probably going to be relent unless you're playing against like RMP with a lot of crowd control or a team with a lot of crowd control because human trinket or human ratio puts your trinket on a minute and a half cooldown. So like it's a pretty short window where you're actually going to use trinket or where you can use trinket. So first one, Surging Mist. It's a staple. It's by far our best healing ability that we have. Basically what it does, if you remember from last expansion, if you remember Fortune Turned, that's basically what it is. It stacks twice and increases the healing received by the monk's healing surge by 100%. That's what it is. So if you just keep spamming it, it does much more healing. Like it's just a solid heal. That's all it is. And you're basically going to be using it for single target healing, but you can definitely use it for some spot healing in RBGs. But it's pretty much used for single target healing. Roy the Crane. It's it's carried on over from Legion. It's a super strong ability. You no longer get out of stuns, but it removes you from slows. You can't be rooted, and all of your damage is increased by 35%, and your teammates are healed for 200% of the damage you do. So that's pretty good. I could show you guys how to use it real quick. I'll show you guys how to use it. So probably have set you down a normal game. Normally, you're not going to have time to get Teachings of Monastery. Teachings of Monastery is generated from Tiger Palm, and it makes your next Blackout Kick strike additional times, depending on how many stacks you have. So if you have 1 stack of Blackout Kick, your Blackout Kick hits 1 more time, 1 additional time. If you have 2 stacks and so on, it hits 2 times. If you have 3, it hits 3 times. So you don't normally have time to set that up. So let's just assume you just got out of a stun and you really need to you need to heal. Normally, let's say I get out of stun, I'll normally wear the Crane, Rising Sun Kick, and then I'll use Trinket, and then I'll Tiger Palm Blackout Kick. If I get the Rising Sun Kick proc, I'll use it. But if I don't, I'll double Tiger Palm into Blackout Kick, and we're just unfortunate because it didn't reset. And then Rising Sun Kick and Blackout Kicks. I mean, it's pretty much Tiger Palm Blackout Kick until you get a Rising Sun Kick. That's reset. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and if you're using Chi Wave, you can use Chi Wave straight off the bat, which is pretty good. And that's pretty much the Way of the Crane rotation. The hardest part about Way of the Crane is knowing when to use it. And I'll make a whole separate video talking about that. That's a long video. Because Way of the Crane is complicated. And if you're not comfortable using Way of the Crane, completely fine. 100% fine. You could do well. I always use Zen Focus T, by the way. I always use Surging Mist and Zen Focus T most of the time. I'll swap Way of the Crane for Counteract Magic. And if I'm playing against like a Boomy, I'll play that. This will be the sec versus like teams with spread damage. This is what I'll do. because Way of the Crane is all instant healing, right? So if I get kicked, I can just use Way of the Crane. It's pretty, yeah, it's a pretty good time to use it. So if there's a bunch of dots going out and I'm using Soothing Mist, I'm trying to get Enveloping Mist out, trying to Surging Mist, but I get interrupted, I just use Way of the Crane, Rising Sun Kick. So I don't need Zen Focus Tea. Cataract Magic's really good. And let's see, Zen Focus Tea. And then I'll also swap it for maybe Grapple Weapon if I'm playing against, I don't know, if I'm playing against Turbo or something like that. And I just want to hang back. But I think Way of the Crane is good versus Turbo. So this might be better. Basically, it's Way of the Crane almost every game. Pretty much. Again, unless you're playing against a team with a lot of crowd control, which is RMP, then you'll be playing Way of the Crane. So you're going to have to get comfortable playing Way of the Crane. It's not easy to use. It's not self-explanatory on when to use it. Just practice. Everyone loses. I lost plenty of times. Trust me. I mean, I've played like 500 games, 440, 137. Like, I played a lot of games. I've lost a lot, but I'm learning a lot after every loss. So just stick with it. Just stick with it. So let me talk about the general healing rotation for you guys and girls. The arena starts. Let's just say the arena starts. All right. Well, 3, 2, 1. I usually Thunder Focus Tea, Renewing Mist on both my teammates. I think it's pretty good. They're 40 seconds long, so they'll be around for a while. Put statue down and place your port in a safe place, usually behind a pillar, something like that. Something to note real quick about port is that it's a 45-second cooldown now, so it's not 15 seconds. Okay, it's a cooldown now. Don't push in. Don't push in. Get the leg sweep and then port. Don't do that. If the team's good, they'll swap to you right after that, and they'll force your Cocoon, Trinket, Fortifying Brew, something like that. So, if you're gonna go in and you got your port over there, and you want a leg sweep, let's say this is leg sweep, then you want to roll out or Chi Torpedo and Tiger's Lust out of there. Don't use port. That's a real cooldown now, so you can't be wasteful with it. All right, so our healing rotation, it's actually pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Make sure you're using Renewing Mist off cooldown. You know, make sure there's no charges. Make sure it's always recharging. Use Enveloping Mist when they're starting to drop below maybe 50%, because you could use Surging Mist, which doesn't cost that much mana, to just stabilize your teammate pretty quickly. Without spending too much mana. Now, if you see your team, both of you teammates are starting to cleave down, or maybe you and another teammate are starting to get cleaved a little bit, maybe you get gripped in, something, and you're both at maybe 60, 50%, you're going to want a Mana Tea. Thunder Focus Tea on the global, because it doesn't have a global cooldown, and then use double Enveloping Mist to heal both you guys, like 3% mana, and you both have a solid Enveloping Mist heal, and then you have the hot. Make sure you keep Renewing Mist up. And what other heal do we have? I mean, Surging Mist, Enveloping Mist, Renewing Mist. Don't use Vivify. Don't use Essence Font. Don't use those two ever. Don't use them. They cost too much mana. They're not worth it. They're just not worth it. So make sure you don't use those. Real quick, I want to talk about Thunder Focus Tea. This is where you'll be doing most of your burst healing from if you don't have many globals to cast. You could use Surging Mist, of course, but if you need a large heal in a short amount of time, you'll be using Thunder Focus Tea. Thunder Focus Tea has changed since Legion. I'll just explain. Enveloping Mist immediately heals for 17,000. Renewing Mist duration increased by 10 seconds. Vivify costs no mana, and Rising Sun Kick cooldown reduced by 9 seconds. So most of the time, you'll be using Thunder Focus Tea in the beginning of an arena match for Renewing Mist. And if you're running the Focus Thunder, you have 2 Renewing Mists for 40-second duration. So you can see, it's insane. That's an insane duration. But you'll also be using it for the burst healing with Enveloping Mist. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if somebody's low on health, right? And, you know, yeah, I don't know. You just got out of crowd control, and they don't have any kicks available, so you're able to free cast or you juke them. You can just put a Renewing Mist up on them, and then Thunder Focus Tea. I'll do Thunder Focus Tea in like 5 seconds. And Enveloping Mist, and it's a large amount of burst healing. Real quick. So you see, we have Thunder Focus Tea, Soothing Mist, huge heal from Enveloping Mist. I just want to see. Let me cancel all this healing. Let me just see how much healing it healed for. It healed for a lot. I crit up to maybe 30 or 40,000 with Thunder Focus Tea Enveloping Mist. Yeah, I can't find it, but it's a lot. It's normally percentage wise, it's about 40, maybe 50% heal. It's insane. It's insane. It's a really good heal. So just remember that. That's Thunder Focus Tea and how to use it. You'll never use it for Vivify. You could use it for Rising Sun Kick. Like if you're playing Crane or something. You could do like Thunder Focus Tea, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm again, Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick. Try and get this reset. It reset. Bam. That's actually a lot of damage. It's actually that's actually a lot of damage. That's a lot of instant damage, most importantly. So yeah, you could use it for Rising Sun Kick. You just won't normally use it for Vivify. Is basically what I'm saying. And you'll be using it against teams with a lot of dots and you're using Counteract Magic. You're going to want to use it for the Renewing Mists so that you have the constant. You have a 40-second Renewing Mist constantly rolling with Counteract Magic, which is insane. Just want to try this again. Thunder Focus Tea. Boom. Tiger Palm. Rising Sun Kick. Tiger Palm. Rising Sun Kick. Blackout Kick. Resets it or should. Tiger Palm. Blackout Kick. Doesn't reset. That's a lot of damage. Holy cow. I'm going to try and do that next time I do twos. Next time I do twos, I'm going to try and do that. But, yeah, hey, that's Thunder Focus Tea for you, pretty much. If you have any questions, let me know. It pairs really well with Zen Focus Tea. Zen Focus Tea has a 45-second cooldown, though, so a little off, kind of like Mana Tea and Way of the Crane, but they still work really well together. Oh, one big important thing is that we have a new passive. It's called Mystic Touch. Your damage weakens the target, increasing physical damage taken by 5%. If you're playing with two casters, you probably don't need it. But if you're playing with Warrior, Demon Hunter, Warrior, a melee, you're going to want it. So any damage applies Mystic Touch. That includes Crackling Jade Lightning. Oh, let me get on a dummy. On a Crackling Jade Lightning. That includes Chi Wave. That includes Spinning Crane Kick. So that's why when you see me like go in, you see a bunch of people grouped up. That's why you see me leg sweep and then spinning crane kick, because it puts the debuff on both of them, and then my teammates can just do even more damage. That's why you see spinning crane kick. And then then you just got the Way of the Crane rotation, which I briefly showed, but I could show it real quick. I'll talk about it. So Way of the Crane. You're sacrificing your positioning to do damage so you could heal. What that means is normally you're safe behind the pillar, maybe over there, like right here. You're safe behind this pillar. You're healing fine, but you're starting to get into some trouble, And you got Way of the Crane, or maybe you're root beamed, or maybe there's Shadow Priest and there's just a bunch of cleave or spread damage. You're going to want to use Mana Tea straight off the bat. Way of the Crane now costs 25,000 mana. That's 1/4 of your mana bar in one global. But with Mana Tea, it's only 12.5%, so it's pretty good. So if you could set it up, try and get some Tiger Palms in, because once again, it generates stacks of Teachings of Monastery. Teachings of Monastery, Blackout Kick has a 15% chance to reset the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick. That's awesome. So that means you want to use Blackout Kicks to try and reset Rising Sun Kick, which means you want Rising Sun Kick on cooldown. So in a normal game, either when you see spread damage going out, or if you think it's coming, because you could use Mana Tea, right, and just heal. You can just heal with it. Just keep healing. You're healing. You're fine. And then you see, okay, 5 seconds in. All right, it's time to Way of the Crane. Way of the Crane, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick. There's the reset on Rising Sun Kick. Rising Sun Kick again. Blackout Kicks. And yeah. And then even then, if you're in twos and you're not feeling the pressure and you're starting to pressure the enemy healer, just keep doing damage. Like, you do some really good damage as a Mistweaver, even when you're not Way of the Crane. Or, while it's not active. So you could just keep going. And that's when you could go for the triple Teachings of Monastery, Rising Sun Kick, 4 Blackout Kicks, Rising Sun Kick reset. You can keep that pressure on the healer just by yourself. So it's a super solid way to play. I'm trying to think of anything I forgot. Traits. Okay. So for Mistweaver, you have a few options you can do, but the best one is definitely the triple stacking of Overflowing Mists. This is the best trait you have. Your Enveloping Mist heals the target for 501 each time they take damage. So each time they get hit, they get healed for 500. Now, if you're triple stacking it, I don't have it in my chest, unfortunately. So I'm double stacking it. They get healed for 1,000 every time. So that's really good, especially when you put right into crowd control. That's super solid. Secondary traits, I don't have any good ones. Shimmering Haven, it's okay. It makes a little Azerite on the ground. This one's good. When you drop below 40%, it grants you 822 armor, which I think is pretty solid. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think it's good. It happens every 30 seconds. This one, Strength of Spirit, is the best one that you can get, I think, personally. While Fortifying Brew is active, you heal for 945 every second. So imagine if you are able, so this is why it's crucial to try and Fortifying Brew before you get stunned. Imagine if you get an Enveloping Mist off with the double Overflowing Mists, and then you Fortifying Brew, so you're getting healed every time you get hit, and every second while Fortifying Brew is active. That's why it's crucial for Fortifying Brew to be used. It really saves your trinket, saves your cocoon, it might even save your port. Super solid. And that's pretty much it for traits. I'm trying to think of the middle. I don't have any of these unlocked. I don't have any of the third ones unlocked. This one, Resounding Protection, is the best. By far, 100%. Oh, I have this. It's not good. It's not good. You want this. You want Resounding Protection. We could talk about macros. I don't really have many macros. I have Arena 1, 2, 3 Provoke. I have Statue, so no cursor. So you see, I can replace it. Ring of Peace at no cursor is actually really good. You should definitely invest in that. It's just this right here. This just swaps talents out. I have Arena 1, 2, 3 macros for Paralysis, which is good. The only mandatory, this is the only mandatory macro you need. It's this one right here. It's this one right here. So what this macro does, and I see it all the time on lower and more Mistweavers, is I see them use, someone dies in RBGs or like 3s. Obviously it's too late in 3s, but in RBGs, they use Life Cocoon, and they use it on themselves, but they're targeting the dead person. So you see I'm not targeting myself right now. That's my Life Cocoon macro. This macro does not go off unless you're targeting a player. So you see I'm spamming. You can see right here, this key right here, I'm spamming Life Cocoon right now. It's just not working. But until I target myself, Life Cocoon. See? Manatee is a cooldown. Talked about that. Talked about Way of the Crane. Zen Focus Tea, 45-second cooldown. Pretty solid. It's solid. It's just an Aura Mastery. Use it when there's kicks available and you need to get your teammates up. Fortifying Brew, try and use before stuns. It's pretty obvious when a teammate's going to come in hot, or when an enemy's going to come in hot. If you see them, like, you're behind a pillar and you see them like starting to come this way, they're coming to stun you or blind you or just try and kill you. So try and Fortifying Brew that. Revival, it's pretty solid. It's not bad. I don't know, it's pretty solid. Yeah. You can use it if you're playing against double melee and there's not much use for like dispelling, and let's say the enemy healer is a priest, they get double fear and they got a lot of pressure. Revival it. You can just revival the double fear, boom, and they're just consistent pressure. Against rock cleaves, you're gonna want to use it when you're having trouble keeping up, pretty much. When you don't have Way of the Crane and you're having trouble keeping up, just revival. Against a Shadow Priest, probably want to do it after Void Form or during, just so you dispel those dots so they can't keep refreshing them. Warlocks, just use it to dispel UAs if you can't do it, or if your Demon Hunter can't reverse. And that's pretty much. And then you have Life Cocoon, which is single target. Use it before a CC if you can. Use it on yourself before stuns. That's pretty much all there is to that. And that pretty much does it. That's pretty much it for Mistweaver Monks. Of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Seriously, this channel completely 100% dedicated to Mistweaver. Well, monks, but pretty much Mistweaver. So if you have any questions, let me know. If I left something out, feel free to let me know. I don't think I did, but I definitely could have. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you later.